Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Black Blockchain Summit 2021. It has been super interesting, just like the other years. We have amazing speakers, we have amazing Black blockchain leaders, and the topic that we're about to talk about is really interesting. This is empowering Black communities using blockchain. So now what we want to talk about is how do we do that? How do we empower Black communities across the world, globally? I'm currently in Harare, Zimbabwe, and this conferences like this, technology always show us that it is possible to collaborate and work together, and as Black people globally. Again, my name is Tongayi Choto. The co-founder and CEO of AfriBlocks. We are a global Pan-African freelance marketplace. And what we do is we seek talent across the globe, Black developers, designers, engineers, and connect them with remote jobs across the world. And I'm super excited to be here today. And we have Phahsa and we have Roselyne. They're going to introduce themselves, let us know, the organizations they represent, and the amazing work that they're doing. So I'll leave the floor to them, a minute or two to introduce yourselves. Let's start with Phahsa.
I go by Phahsa. The organization that I work with, I'm the co-founder of the Presence Browser. I also have an organization called UMI, which is the Upward Mobility Initiative. And the key things that we're focused on is building out a digital infrastructure for our people. We actually believe that economics alone is not the answer. There's a lot of discussion around rebuilding Black Wall Street and creating marketplaces and investing in crypto, but we actually need a supply chain that we can have sovereignty over. We actually need a digital landscape for which we can create jobs and we can control the innovation and the intellectual property that's being cultivated from those resources. The long game instead of the short game. We have a tendency to have to look out for our best interest right now because the world is converging on our culture, on our influence in terms of markets and everything else as well. But we never really have an opportunity to be at the forefront of the actual development and the innovation and having control of our supply chain. So that's something we're very passionate about. And I look forward to talking more about it. Really excited to be here at the Black Blockchain Summit again. I think this is my third or fourth year. It's all mixing together, but just really excited. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for that introduction, Roselyne.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Roselyne Wanjiru, currently the research lead at Utafiti. Utafiti is a crypto and digital assets investment advisory outfit. And our purpose is quite simple, that we want people to be able to benefit from crypto as an industry and not just, have it as a passing phase, because one of the key hurdles to people actually embracing crypto is simply understanding what it is, away from the hype, away from the government restrictions, and away from the misconceptions that have really kept a lot of people in fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So Utafiti is basically in that nexus of just breaking down these terms, taking away the complex jargon and bringing it home, so that if you are a micro investor, if you are a, institutional investor, you'll be able to consider crypto as part of your portfolio. And, without the confusion that has really kept a lot of people away from that. I'm based in Kenya. My background is in economics, and I'm really honored to be part of this Black Blockchain Summit for the second year speaking. And I really look forward to learning from my co-panelists and the Black blockchain community all over the world.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. We're just going to get ahead into the discussion. And my first question will be to Phahsa, like, what is Black empowerment in your own view, in your own thoughts? And what does it mean to Black people, Black communities, Black-owned businesses globally?
Black empowerment in this space. I got this magazine at the Blockchain Summit 2018.
Yeah.
And inside there was an insert. And when you open up the insert, it has this big thing of a city, but I'll show you, like, it's basically shows the landscape of all of the different companies that are inside this digital sphere, this place. And I didn't see a single company of African descent that was really doing, like, that had any type of representation in this image. And I was like, wow, like, they've been building this under our noses. They have this entire thing, which is basically going to be the future, this blockchain technology, but we don't have our own infrastructure to be able to cycle resources or money for our own communities and stuff. So when I think about Black empowerment, I think about having one of these. I think about having a group of entities in the blockchain space that are actually working together in our own world, our own digital infrastructure, and having the ability to support one another in that way, whether it's capacity building, which is a big thing, making sure that we have access to top tier engineers. You know, when you think about it, a lot of our best and brightest have to go work for these companies because these companies can afford to pay them the type of resources that they need to be paid for that work. So we need to actually create this, but we have to first learn to be able to come together. So when I think about Black empowerment, it's first about being able to build an environment and to be able to work together within that environment, and then to create sustainable resources that will allow us to bring our best and brightest to the table so that we can collaborate on our ideas and start to build companies that aren't just apps. It's not enough to just be an application. We need to be building the platform for which applications are built on. We need to be providing the infrastructure and the resources for there to be more people that are being hired than just 2 or 3 software engineers for a particular project. We need to be able to hire a company, an entire Black owned or African company of African descent that focuses primarily on whether it's the legal behind the blockchain, the graphic design, the engineering, the UX, UI, the back-end development. There's all these different things, but we're not able to get those jobs and get those contracts. So it's a big thing. It's a big point, something I'm really focused on. And that's what I see Black empowerment as, is, you know, us owning our own.
Understood. That is an amazing, description and thought process around, Black empowerment. I'll pose the same question to Roselyne around, that community. Like, it's amazing that, we're here on this call right now in different parts of the world. We are Black people and we're working together and sharing information with other, Black communities globally. So how do we tap into that to continue to empower that person who just started to learn about blockchain today?
All right. I'd share a bit of my story just to share in this context. So in 2017, I would say I was in a bit of a turning point in terms of career, and I was looking out for opportunities, either paid, employed, voluntary, or, I was just really getting out there. And I was also looking at my personal options, like, should I get into business? Should I, start my own thing? And well, some of the thoughts that I had back then, of course, were premature, but I'll say it was a mix of looking at opportunities within the policy and research space, international relations. I was looking at data science, data analytics, and I was also looking at getting into publishing and, just looking at a mix of my learned skills and my natural skills, right? So it was in this space then that I started to learn about blockchain as a solution to cybersecurity. And I felt that as a young economist, seeing this is where the future of value is going, then I needed to be part of that some way, somehow, right? And in learning about this then as cybersecurity, seeing that, first of all, there were very few women represented, and more so people of color that were just, I couldn't find so many people to connect with. I thought I needed to do something about it. So toward the end of the year, I started learning coding, took up a few classes, and this was building up toward 2018, which was literally my turning point, because I got to meet so many amazing people within the blockchain and crypto community in Kenya. And I didn't exactly get like, paid work opportunities first, but I got opportunities to volunteer. And in these opportunities, my eyes were open to so many things that to date stand with me on a personal level, not just on a professional level, that, there's this whole world that's yet to be created. And one of the biggest shifts for me then on a personal level was shifting from a consumer who is looking for a job so that I can take care of a few bills and live a comfortable life, to being a producer that I have a voice, I have an identity, I have a story to tell. There's a measure of impact I can actually leave in, create in my world, and not just leave behind, while I live. And I resonate a lot with what Phahsa has just said, that we don't have enough African communities being represented in these amazing companies and building the infrastructure. So for me, it was that I got to connect with these communities through my work in research. And I felt that as a young economist, then I needed to give my voice there. So a lot of the talks that and forums that I've been part of in the last 3 years, I would say, are not only to bring awareness first, but also just to show that this is possible, for us to rally, for us to connect, for us to collaborate, and not just to compete that, I'm a young person who's starting out my business, so I have to, sweat in the hours, be an entrepreneur, do my own thing and build my own empire. And that's it, that narrative lacks the depth of identity, because I feel that for us to truly appreciate empowering the Black community, we can't ignore the aspect of identity, right? And in us embracing then our identity, then we are able to appreciate ownership, which is the next step of empowerment, that I can own my identity. Therefore, in owning my identity, I can own my voice, I own my creativity, I own the kind of relationships that I have, I own the kind of work that I do it with honor. And therefore, I can appreciate what blockchain as a technology then can leverage what I intend to do, because my view is that it's not a blockchain is doing this for us. We are the ones who are doing it. It's just that we have this tool in a unique way as compared to other tools that we've had before in time. Of course, internet itself is powerful, but we're still unlocking what that means, and even now still understanding what blockchain can do for us in terms of community resources and ownership alone. So my key points in that regard is that first is a shift from consumer, from a consumer base to a producer base. And secondly, walking into ownership, that we are owning our identity, we're owning our culture, we're owning our expression, and not feeling and not treating it as something that we have to be apologetic toward. There's a lot of I would say controversial reference around the Black Panther movie in I think it was released 2018, but however you view it, my view is that it did awaken in us a sense of being I would say rooted and proud of our culture, because it's so diverse, it's so rich, that it just can't have one dominant expression that this is the totality of Afro culture or Black culture all across the world, right? So it's for us to embrace this diversity and share it as a gift to our world, because really it's time. I'm not just saying that it's time for that, but really it's time for that. So thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts.
Can I just touch on something that she said?
Sure.
A couple of things. First off, thank you for that. You made me have to, I would have notes. I'm going through my notes and everything. You said some really great things. One of them for sure was converting people from this mindset of consumer to producer. See, we transitioned from an industrial age where, the blood and sweat means that you get paid money, and you get some type of value from that. But now the data collected from that blood and sweat in this information age is worth more than any swing of the axe or any actual manual labor that you would be doing, because data is the gift that keeps on giving. Where's that data coming from? It's coming from people. So people are actually producers when it comes down to this digital economy, this information age, but we're only being represented as consumers. And as a result, you get this predatory use of technology that's exploitative specifically towards our community, where we're going to take your data in the for-profit space for market research that's going to drive capital markets, or we're going to under the guise of community-based participatory research with nonprofits, we're going to collect your data on your behalf to try to get money from the government, which is your tax dollars at work, to be able to bring value to you that might not actually be the value that you need, because the key performance indicators for what's considered to be value exchange are all based off metrics that maybe I didn't consent to myself. Like, that's not value to me, but you're not going to listen to that. And that's where having an opportunity to have data sovereignty, which was something that you're kind of mentioning, I think is extremely powerful. If we don't have data sovereignty moving into this last phase of the Industrial Revolution, I would say it's over for us.
Yeah,
I would say that we actually won't have a chance to be able to build the infrastructure that we need and do a lot of the things that you were talking about, Roselyne. So I really wanted to just give you your flowers on that. I appreciate what you're saying, and that's a really good point. So thank you.
Yeah, and I also really like the mention around, identity and, who we are as a people. We always talk about the concept of Ubuntu, I am because we are, and, this is the part of the community aspect. And I guess my next question to Phahsa will be around, both of you guys have been, I think you both mentioned 2018 as a point where, you're really into cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. So have you seen a shift in Black people starting to use and to learn these technologies from 2018 to now we're in 2021?
Yeah, I have to be honest in that. Yeah, for sure. Definitely there's a shift. Blockchain's becoming a thing. Like, my cousin hit me up. Hey, I just got my digital wallet. Can you tell me how to purchase some coins? The NFT market has become something of significance, especially because NFT being able to capture expression and culture, like Roselyne was saying, music. Like, we really drive markets with our ingenuity and our creativity and resilience. So yes, blockchain kind of fits this, but what I have also seen is a lot of regulation come into play. A lot of different things that I saw in previous summits where people were worried about, those grumblings of the regulation's gonna marginalize our community where we can't afford to get into the space, or we can't afford, like, that stuff is happening. It's happening, and it's happening in the slightest way. It's not just government. It's really like other organizations and from other communities being able to set a standard without us being able to set some of those standards ourselves. We don't necessarily have that agency. And so that is one of my fears, is that as more opportunity happens in this space, that we don't have enough people that are laboring on the policy side to ensure that we have continued access to it. Because there is a learning curve. It is it's technology dependent. Like, you really have to have access, and we have a digital divide, especially in this country, but across the world with our people. So having access to it is something that's important. It's one of the reasons why I appreciate, I don't know if Black blockchain billionaires and some of these other groups that they do a lot of, there's a lot of conversation that's happening even in Clubhouse rooms to introduce new people to what's going on in blockchain. I just want to make sure that there's enough happening on the infrastructural side to ensure that we're not getting closed out in the process.
That's amazing. What are your thoughts, Roselyne, around Black people's participation, from the time you were introduced into blockchain and cryptocurrency to date?
Well, I'll say that the shift has been quite incredible, because even among my family, my friends, the questions come in and someone is like, I've been following this particular asset, I've been trying this particular currency, which exchange platform should I use? Which storage platform should I use? And I know then that, they're embracing it one step at a time, right? But on the other hand, one of the things that, as Phahsa has pointed out, is that the digital divide, it's quite painful, because then a lot of people remain in this cocoon of fear, whereby if the government hasn't endorsed, for instance, cryptocurrencies, then naturally they don't want to hear anything about it. And in some respects, you can understand the fears that they have, because they don't want to be associated with anything negative, and they just don't want to be in any bad books. But it takes up after some time, they're like, I wish I had listened to you, when you were talking to me about this a year or two or so ago, right? And you have to respect people's learning curve in that sense. But one of the other gaps that I see is that there's yet to be an appreciation of data as an asset. That you find that for so many people, their perspective of wealth or wealth creation and being rich is that you either have land or you have some sort of building, or you have not necessarily even a business as of yet, because that shift from tangible assets to digital assets is yet to happen for so many people. So one of the objections that, for instance, I receive when talking about cryptocurrencies is that they don't have underlying value and they're too volatile, right? But we can argue the same for literally fiat and even land, because just because I buy land in in a suburban area and in a few years some level of development is expected, that's also speculation, because there's no guarantee that the municipality will come and actually bring roads, electricity and water, internet services over there, right? So for some people, they find that you've held onto this parcel of land for 10 years, 20 years. You've even forgotten where the specific land is, right? And it's really painful then when you're trying to recover your resources back, and you realize the documentation that you have to deal with is already a monster of a nightmare for you to deal with, right? So the mental shift that still has to come is in appreciating digital assets as much as physical assets, because we can argue for both benefits, pros and cons either way, whether we're talking about digital real estate or physical real estate, right? So the more we have, person to person, family, barbecue, coffee conversations about this, that's really where the change will come about, because it's not even about generation, but really an issue of safety, that if I put my money in this particular cryptocurrency or this particular blockchain initiative, whether it's community, whether it's someone I know that I don't know, I just want to know that my money is safe, right? So the thing is that the conversations around the usability of both blockchain and crypto have to be as safe as possible for across the divide, whether we're talking about young people, old people. Away from the hype, it has to be a safe conversation so that you're able actually to convince someone to know that their money just won't disappear into thin air.
Utility. I love what you're saying, right? I'm sorry, brother. That means everything that she's saying. Like, utility is everything. If you can have all these coins and everything, but what is what value is being exchanged? How is it being used? And what's the longevity of that? That's the thing. Like, with all due respect, the NFT market, there's a lot of great things that are happening, but we have to make sure that value is exchanged. We have to make sure that it's pegged to something that's going to still be here in 10 years. We can't afford to look at this industry and pass up the opportunity to build something that maybe starts slower, but has a greater impact in the long run for our community, as opposed to, if we go out here and we just do this art, you know what I mean, with the NFT stuff, which I think NFT and art actually, I think is a great thing, but I would love to find ways to wrap that into building something that leads to us appreciating the true value of a digital asset and what it really could mean for our people. That's yeah.
So here's the question to you. We've been saying, using blockchain. So let's make the shift, because most people seem like they're only thinking about cryptocurrency, but let's talk about blockchain, the technology. Like, how do we use that to empower Black communities? Because if you talk about cryptocurrency, you're just probably in the space of speculation, probably in the space of, I'll buy this, I'll hold this. But now let's talk about the technology building using that blockchain technology. What are your thoughts around that, Phahsa?
For sure. I think one of the most powerful things is when we're talking about utility is the use of a smart contract. I believe trust is something that in our community, we haven't been able to trust anybody. And for us to be able to create trustless systems where I don't need to trust you because there's a smart contract in place that acts as that trust to guarantee that you uphold your end of the bargain and I'm upholding my end of the bargain, whether it's for work that's being done, whether it's for incentivizing a behavioral change that maybe we specifically have an understanding of and other communities might not. Like, I think that our family structures are under attack. I believe that there's certain socioeconomic circumstances that we have to deal with that people do not have to deal with. Even if you look at the COVID-19 and how that's changed things. And so I really believe that the use of smart contracts and different applications, that real world applications for the smart contracts that improve people's quality of life by whether it's increasing literacy, whether it's just looking at a lot of the dependencies that we have that only we would know about, which means that we would have to have our own research facilities that have access to that data so that we could create smart contracts that actually matter. Like, what's a smart contract that would incentivize people that have comorbidities, which is primarily a lot of our people in this country, to be able to do certain things a certain way that would improve their quality of life or protect them from other things in the future. I think things like that would be powerful all the way across sector. They've created these UN SDGs. So one of the things that we're doing, we're working with the Forbes funds, my organization, UMI, to be able to identify the different resilient communities that exist across the UN SDGs and allow those people to come up with the metrics for success. Like, how could we improve your life as it relates to food? How could we improve your life as it relates to your personal health, as it relates to housing, as it relates to education, all things that we suffer from the most? Having and gathering that data in an equitable way, meaning that there's data sovereignty. We're not taking your data, making sure that our people have access to the data first. They know everything's going on and it could potentially even be monetized on their behalf. And then bringing our researchers in and creating smart contracts from that data. That's one of the things that we're doing with them, to be able to identify at-risk, vulnerable communities. That's what they say, what we're labeled as, but really being able to address the concerns that they deal with on a day in and day out basis using smart contracts and stuff. That's without trying to dive too deep, I think that's one of the examples.
Sure. Yeah,
Hi, this is Jen. Hi, this
Hello,
is
Jenna.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Janae.
Great. So Jenna just joined us. Jenna just joined us from the call. Can you just introduce yourself quickly?
Sure. I'm Janae Roscoe with Operation Hope. I run our government affairs and public policy shop out of Washington, D.C. And so I work with federal officials around this space, what they call innovation, and also working 3 decades on Black issues and on innovation and social entrepreneurship. This is a space that I'm near and dear to my heart. I sent to someone who helped me get on this call. Thank you very much, Pascal. An article that's in Hoover, and it's one of the articles that I highlighted by Forbes magazine, and that's really what I'm going to pivot a lot of my conversation around. The Forbes article is called "Why Black Investors Seemingly Prefer Cryptocurrencies Over Traditional Stocks." And as we speak, 44% of cryptocurrency traders being investors of color, and that's up from 35%. That's showing you the trend that people in our community are investing in access to capital opportunities that will grow their businesses and grow in their global community through the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. So I'm really excited about being a part of the summit and adding that kind of input and insight that we've been seeing within our own company.
Great. That's really helpful, because we just mentioned about the shift from 2018 to now, that more and more people are investing and learning about cryptocurrencies and blockchain, particularly in the Black community, which is amazing. My question to Roselyne is around the horrible, terrible pandemic COVID-19. Has that accelerated the growth of Black people in cryptocurrency and blockchain at all, or what has been the shift in thought process within the communities that you work in?
It's the pressure around the pandemic and income has definitely pushed people to consider crypto as an alternative, because with let me just break it down literally to for Kenya, the average income is about $500 a month, because the per capita income, factoring that, and the fact that about only 75,000 Kenyans earn above $1,000, that means like the majority of the population is earning literally less than $500. So within this $500, for someone who has a family of, let's say, 2 kids and or even 3 kids, or even just 1 child, you're taking care of fees, you're taking care of your rent, basic utility bills. You just have about, let's say, $50 to $100 at most to invest in anything that's, that could actually bring you extra income. So for a lot of people, they try, a lot of businesses that have to do with fast moving consumer goods. So selling, I don't know what you call them locally, maybe, but smokies, small sausages and eggs and just quick snacks that someone can buy on their way, or samosas and things like that. And it's as diverse as you might want to consider when you visit these sites. But let's say the average income, the average disposable income someone has to invest is between $50 and $100, right? So within these $50 to $100, best options that might be known are, the conventional investments like mutual funds, unit trusts, which will give you about 10% or 11% at most per annum. And well, those are, typically safe, and stocks will perform, definitely better than that. But looking at crypto, for someone who has that $50, that $100, if they pick a crypto that will give them even 30% return in about 2 weeks, then it's definitely a shot for them. And if they're able to recoup their initial investment within 3 weeks, within 4 weeks, then we're talking about someone who's able to multiply their initial capital to 3, 4, 5 times in a few months. And a lot of young people have actually embraced that, because it's the concept of literally starting with nothing. Because for someone who is in, let's say, campus, and all they have is their parents' weekly allowance or some pocket money that they have from their parents, then that's what they start with. So literally from that range of about let's say $10 to $100, then a lot of people are looking at this as, where can I literally multiply these resources? And it's working out well for some. For others, it's still figuring it out. Some have gotten their fingers burnt, but I think one thing I love about particularly Kenya is that the resilience that people have in just trying one thing after another. It's quite amazing. So it works pretty well for us.
Great. So Phahsa, can we say that cryptocurrency is helping close the wealth gap, or it's not? You're on mute, sorry.
I was saying, it's all we have. Like, this is I hope that it is doing that. It seems as though it's giving us an opportunity to create community, to collaborate with one another. It seems like it's that beacon of hope. We need to make sure that we're working together in how we approach it. We could easily approach it in a very opportunistic way, and maybe there's a few of us that get ahead, maybe not, but we're stronger if we come together and we build an infrastructure, because that's what they did. They went and they built an infrastructure. You have exchanges working with exchanges. You have cryptos working with other cryptos. You have, I have a there's just so many different things that they're doing, and because they understand it's such a big space that they don't have to compete against one another, because they can grow together. And you can be Visa and MasterCard. You can be, it really is something that I hope that we're able to capitalize on the right way. It just comes down to, it really comes down to us being able to come together and get past, whether it's cultural differences, whether it's socioeconomic circumstances, whatever it is, we really need to figure that part out.
Thank you. So Jenna, you can jump in on this. Does cryptocurrency and blockchain, or has it helped close the wealth gap?
Well, I'm going to hit it from the that I sit in every day, and that's access to capital with mainstream financial institutions. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is provocatively making it better for people to have greater choices who are usually left out with convenient products for themselves at mainstream banks and credit unions even. So I'm excited to see how statistically people of color communities that have lacked great access to capital with low funds are able to make savings, investment, and smart money moves through Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Great. That's really helpful. I would like to take this point. Phahsa, you mentioned, those as Black people that we need to build these technologies, we need to collaborate and things like that. So right now, my question I'll start with Roselyne is, what are some of the best Black-owned platforms, technologies, products that you've seen in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space that you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
Oh wow, I have so many. But okay, let me just do a quick run through from East to West Africa. So East Africa, the WIVE protocol, definitely melanin solar. Within Kenya, there are quite a number of blockchain communities. My goodness, I think it's better if I send like a list of links.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll send a list of links that people can definitely look at. In West Africa, there's the Africa Blockchain Institute on the forefront of education. South Africa, there's the UABA. I mean, there's so many. My goodness, let me send a list because I'm too excited to mention all of them in quick succession. But they're really amazing projects doing amazing things. I think I'll just chime in on the previous thought is blockchain and crypto bridging the wealth gap. Right now, no. Why? Because for so many people, they have to appreciate what wealth truly is, right? Because it's not just having a specific set of resources or influence or affluence, right? So for instance, let me pick something that's really cutting across all African countries, that the ownership of land. In some communities, women are not even allowed to own land. So, if you're the only female heir of a man who had, parents who had vast tracts of land, then, somehow you're cut off from that. One way in which blockchain tech can easily become a big win in Africa is literally solving the ownership and transfer of land for so many people, because so many court cases are tied around just that inheritance of that. And away from the inheritance of land, then how is this land used? Because for some people, just having the land idle, just no further value is created from that. So someone may arguably have a lot of land in their name, but if they're not creating further wealth from that, then did they really receive wealth, right? And I think for me, one of the things that I'll really be vocal about in the coming years is a call for us as a community to appreciate data as a resource, data as an asset, and realizing the opportunities that we can create not only for ourselves, but for our communities, as we understand how to not only to monetize, but to create further value from that. And one of the key things I'll say is in culture appreciation, because for Kenya, we don't as of yet have a cultural tour that would take you through the 44 communities that are part of the entire country. You don't have a year-long excursion that will take you through 47 counties, and you don't yet have one that will take you through going from the desert safaris far up north, far down south, the entire coastline.
Sorry to cut you off. I see our time is running up.
Yeah, so I'll just wind it up with that.
Send through those resources. I'll just ask, 3 recommendations from Jenna and 3 recommendations from Phahsa. Jenna can go ahead.
All right.
So I'm going to focus a little bit. Well, the obvious one is the actor, Hill Harper. He's created a digital wallet. It's doing a lot of stuff in this space. He's getting a lot of people hyped around that. I'm focused on Black women who have been doing it. There's a Black Women's Blockchain Council that I'm going to be talking about and highlighting as key women, Black women who have invested in the space and are using the platform. So that's what I'm going to highlight. And I will, as a follow-up today, send you the links to those 3 entities.
Great. And Phahsa?
I want to throw our hat in the ring on this. I'll say that the presence browser that we're building, all of these things that we're doing, they need to be done in an environment that we can control, that we can own. Everything, what Rosaline was saying about digital real estate, we've actually created that environment inside the meta space, inside this meta layer between the digital and physical world. We're really excited about that. Hopefully we're able to get some information out to you all so that you can.
And Bridget.
That's and Presence Browser, Bridget, and with Umi Score for sure. So thank you again for doing this. This is a great opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. This has been amazing. I'm sure our listeners, benefited a lot from this. Happy to have you on this, and we hope to have you again next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.